I promise another minute or so and then we'll start off. Let's take a nice deep breath in the meantime. Unwind, disconnect. I like to have all my talks and sessions engaging, so feel free to put in your thoughts. Are you liking what you're hearing? You have some other suggestions? Keep putting that. Keep letting that flow in. I love the hearts. Thank you. So, before we start off, I want to thank you all for putting in your questions. I know many of you put in your questions on what you'd like me to talk about today regarding mindset, regarding resilience, how to think positive, how to do what's required to do. And I've got quite a lot of questions, about 90 questions or so. Thank you so much for doing that. I don't know whether I'll be able to address those questions. I'm going to address as many as possible, and then I'll catch up in another live session once again. But I want to start with letting you know what we're going to cover today. First is, what I want to do is I want to share with you what are mind traps. Why do we get these mind traps? Where does it come from? And then once we are aware of what those mind traps are, what do we do to overcome it? And I think that's the bigger question. What do we do to overcome these mind traps? To stay positive, to stay optimistic, to move forward, not get stuck, not get demotivated. And so these are some of the work that I'm doing around. I'm working with people, I'm working with leaders around this, and I want to share that with all of you. Firstly, how do we get these mind traps? There's a lot of emotion behind it as well. Some bit is there's certain emotions or certain situations that drive certain emotions which may be uncomfortable, and therefore we try and avoid that situation. And when we avoid that situation, we fall into a trap. And the trap could be from anywhere from a future telling trap, which is, I think if I try this, it may fail. Or if I have this conversation with a certain person, it's not going to work out for me. So we've created the future in our mind. But what that is doing is it's blocking our story. Now let me step back and talk about why do we have these mind traps that come in our way. So we all have this beautiful organ within us, which is called the brain. The brain is designed to help the body work, give it all the functions that's required, move the body, and create a state of balance internally. But one of the biggest roles of the brain is to protect the body. So if there's any threat, any danger, the brain signals to the body to either get out of the situation or you fight it out in the situation so that there is no harm done to this body that it's residing in. So what it does is it tries to avoid us getting into situations that are not certain or unclear, because the brain hasn't figured out whether those situations are dangerous or not. So it tries to keep us away in status quo. It tries to tell us, do what you've always been doing because that's been safe for you. And that's protecting you so far. Don't try anything new. Don't take risks. Don't have conversations you never had because we don't know what that's going to do to you. But the mind is just the opposite. The mind is looking for meaning. It's looking for growth. It wants to challenge itself. It has a spirit state in it. So this constant fight between the brain and the mind leads to mind traps, because there's one way the mind wants to go, but the body stops it or the brain stops it for a certain reason. And therefore we start developing these traps. And these traps could be fairness trap, and there are many of these traps, and I'm just going to share a few of them to see whether that resonates with you. So fairness trap is basically the world needs to be fair. If I'm good to you, I expect you to be good to me. If I've put in so much effort in the organization or in my studies or in my education or in my relationships, I expect the same output for me because life is supposed to be fair. Now that's a trap you're getting into because life is not fair. Life is uncertain. It's not fair, it's uncertain. And once we realize this trap, we can start overcoming it. The other common trap is future telling trap, which is if I think of doing something, taking a risk, applying for a new job, or finding my potential, looking for talent, I might create a reality in my mind, a future in my mind that may inhibit me from taking that step. So it could be that's a risk that could turn into a failure, or if I invest my money in this idea, I could just lose everything. Or if I have this difficult conversation with a friend or colleague, that might break my relationship. Or if I propose to somebody, I will get rejected. So when I create a future that is negative or a future that doesn't enable me, guess what? I do nothing about it. And I lose opportunities. And that's what future telling trap is. And there's so many other traps. It could be a trap with ego, which is who I am, myself, and the stories I told myself. There's traps on control. I need to control. I need to know answers. I need to know what's happening. I need to know when the pandemic ends. I need to know when lockdown ends. I need to have this kind of information around me. Or if if I'm a manager, I need to hold on to critical information. So knowledge and control could be a trap that I may fall into. Now, what do we do once we find that trap? What do we do? For example, I'm feeling negative all the time, or I'm feeling stuck, or I need to overcome a bad habit. Now, the first step is to identify. Identify, yes, that's a problem. Identify, this is a mind trap. Now, what kind of mind trap I could be sitting in? Am I sitting in a mind trap that is again creating a wrong future for myself, the future telling one? Or is it a perfectionist trap that I'm sitting in? When it's the right time, I will go invest. When it's the right time, I'll apply. When it's the right time, I will go for these classes. That's the perfect trap that we sit in, and there is never the right time. Or the right time is always now. So now is always the right time, or there's never the right time. So whatever works for you, what statement works for you, just do it. So once you identify that trap, you start challenging it. So just imagine yourself, you're sitting in a courtroom, you are a lawyer, and you have this mind trap over there that's fighting its case. And you are the lawyer that's fighting against it. So you need to find all kinds of evidence that challenges his belief or challenges his statement. So if you have a mindset right now that I lack confidence, or I'm good for nothing, or I don't know how to get out of this mindset of mine, or this addiction of mine, or this depression of mine, or this negative thought pattern of mine, you will start challenging this belief as a lawyer. You're going to ask this statement, or you're going to ask this mind trap, what evidence do you have? What evidence you have that this is true for you? That you cannot do what you're saying right now. And then you start questioning how relevant this information is, or this evidence is. And more often or not, it's you don't have rational evidence around it. It's just what's playing in your head. I want to use my own example here. Many years ago, I had an opportunity to speak publicly, or speak in front of people, not even publicly, speak in front of a group of people. And it was a beautiful opportunity I had, and I just ran away from it. I ran away because the story I told myself is nobody would be interested in listening to what I have to say. Or I won't be good in speaking. I won't have the perfect language that would come out. I won't have the right story to share with people. And what that did to me then is I just ran away from that opportunity and I missed that opportunity. Until I started working on these stories in my head, I questioned myself. I said, okay, step number 2, challenge it. So I'm going to challenge it. What evidence I have to prove that what I'm telling myself is true. So I'm looking at my evidence and I say, I don't have any evidence because I've never tried it out. So because I've never tried it out, I don't know whether I'm good at it or I'm bad at it. And so my next step, step number 3 is replace that belief, replace that thought. So I replaced my thought that I'm not good in public speaking, I'm not good in front of speaking in front of people. I replaced that because I didn't have enough evidence for that. I replaced that by saying, I may have something important to share with some people. Or I have potential, if I'm not there right now, I have potential to speak well, or I have potential to share my message to people. And once I started replacing that, I started focusing less on what's missing inside me, and I started focusing on how do I make that happen. And then I started taking small experiments, speaking in a small group of people, just family, then colleagues, and then to larger forums like TEDx and global conferences, etc. But it started with a very small baby step. And that's where magic happens. It's just that small baby step that takes you to giant leaps in life. But you can only do that if you challenge yourself, you replace those thoughts, and you don't fall into that trap. That's why it's called a trap. We fall into those traps. But guess what? Once we fall into the trap, we can always get out of a trap as well. So find your ways, find your resources. And your resources could be, what ropes can you find? What ladders can you find? Can a colleague be a rope? Can a friend be a ladder? Can you find a coach? Can you find a relative? Can you find a leader or neighbor who can help you? There are resources everywhere. We just need to look for it. Even if you have nobody around you, you're sitting at home, you're in lockdown, you have your laptop, you have the internet. In the internet, you go and look at motivational videos. You look at videos, you look at stories where people have done it. Use that to inspire you for that baby step. All you need to do is inspire yourself for that baby step, that small step. That's your focus. Don't look at the big goal. Focus on the small step. Once you overcome that, then you take it step by step. Then you start upping your game. Don't look at the final destination right now, because the final destination may change as well. So I'm going to take a sip of water right now. You have any questions, post it in the chat. Show me some hearts. Let me know you're getting it. Or just put your favorite mantra. Your favorite mantra could be, I'm ready, I'm strong. Whatever is your logo or motto, just put that down. Be good to hear from you as well. Thank you for the hearts. Beautiful, beautiful. How to remove negative thoughts, ma'am, would you answer? I did. No, I'm not a psychiatrist. No, I'm not. I am a life coach. I've been trained by a wonderful psychiatrist. And so it's been helping. Okay. All right. So what do I have? Believe love in everything. That's true. Believe love in everything. I just hope I have captured all your questions. How to overcome a fear of uncertainty. Okay. Let me tell you this question. And there are many questions going. Uncertainty. Uncertainty is the way of life. So if I were to tell you, you're getting up in the morning, you have to go to work, or you have to go to school, you have to educate yourself, or you have to earn for yourself, would you fear that? Yes or no? Would you fear going to work and earning for yourself? So uncertainty is part of life. We've got the story created in our mind, and partly because of the way our biology is created, like I told you about the brain is designed to understand and know what's going to happen to protect you. But that's how uncertainty is. It is part of life. And the more we accept that, the less fearful we'll get. Because if you know something is part of your life, if you know it's winters, if you know it's summers, if you know it's monsoon, you are not going to start fearing it because that's part of life. You're going to start adapting to it. And that's the answer to it. How do I adapt to something that comes to me and I'm not aware of? And the best and your biggest resource to do that is your mind. Your mind is your most powerful tool. I don't know if any of you follow Tony Robbins. I don't follow him too much, but what I love what he says is success is 80% mind and only 20% strategy. So only 20% of what you do or what you plan is success. 80% is what's here. How resilient you are, how strong you are, how determined you are. So if uncertainty is bringing you fear, you need to start questioning, is saying, buddy, it's part of life. That's what I need to be and accept, and let's go ahead in life. Okay, so what I wanted to leave you with is, and I'll summarize this mindset bit and how to cover those steps. So if you've not been able to put down notes, you can do that. Now, how do you get into the state of constantly noticing your mind traps and constantly working? I was giving this example to a group I was speaking to earlier. I told them that I tried to learn swimming when I was in college, and I did that for 1 month and I learned it, and I was so proud of myself. I learned how to swim, and this was like every day, 5 days a week, 1 whole month. And then I didn't swim for about a few years because we obviously didn't have a swimming pool at home and we didn't have any club membership, so I stopped swimming. I started working, and then life happened. And then when I had kids, I took them to the pool and I tried to swim, and guess what? I no longer knew how to swim. So I don't know, when people say you learn swimming once, you remember for the rest of your life. I don't know, because I didn't. I forgot. And then so my kids said, okay, Mama, I'll teach you. And then they started teaching me. And then in a holiday, I learned to swim again. And then again, I didn't do it. And then the next holiday I went, probably a year or 2 years later, in the pool again, and realized that probably half a lap. So the thing is, if you don't practice, even if you know the techniques, even if I teach you the techniques and you've done it once and twice successfully, you don't get it. Because it's like breathing. It's a continuous process until it becomes part of you, that it is completely natural. So if you're constantly, the more hours you put in practice, which is identifying what thoughts are going in my mind, are these thoughts helpful? Is it enabling me? No. All right. How can I replace it with something that will enable me or make a change in me? And which will also be distracted for that time, because sometimes you're so overwhelmed with what's going on in your head, you just need a break. So you may distract it by doing something that's peaceful, that's meaningful, that brings you joy. So you're basically cleaning the slate of your mind for some time. And then go back and say, why did I do that? What was the trap I was falling into? How can I replace that trap? And when you start getting into this practice, now I get into a situation where, say 15 years ago, somebody said, oh, you have an opportunity to present in front of your leader. I would just shriek. I would have my hands sweaty and I would say, no ways, why can't she present it? I'll do the present PPTs. Now when somebody asks me anything to do things that I've never done in my life, speak in any forums or take up a project I've never done, travel to a place and deliver something all alone, my first reaction is yes. I say yes, and then I may panic later on. Now, what am I going to do? But I've made that baby step. For me, that baby step is yes. And after that, I will figure it out. So after saying yes, I freak out, I panic, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I know I will find a way because I've committed. I have committed to somebody. And that will help you as well. So when you say, how do I get out of my unstuck mind, or how do I get out of my negative thoughts, find somebody where you can make a commitment to. And once you commit, you'll find a way out. And then you'll enjoy what's coming out to you. Remember, the mind's juice is change, it's meaning, it's it's the driving force of doing innovation, purpose in life. So you will start enjoying all of that, and then you realize that these fears, anxieties are part of life. The goal is not to get rid of these emotions. It's there. And probably in my next talk, I'll talk about emotions a little more in detail. I don't want to mix mind and emotional in this talk, but they're all present, and I'm still going through. I'm still breaking head. So, thoughts, feelings. I see a lot on emotions as well. I'll pick that up. How to overcome negative thoughts, I've talked about, is one way to overcome negative thoughts is just make a list. Make a list of all the negative thoughts you have, and just do a ritual in just replacing each of it. So if I have one negative thought, and give me some examples of negative thought that you have over here, and I can help you here and now. So one negative thought that you could look at is, I'm scared to be an entrepreneur, or I'm scared for failure. All right. What are you getting being an entrepreneur right now that's serving you? All right. Which role is where there is no fear? Which role in an organization you'll never have fear? There's none, according to me. There's no role that you'll never have fear. So it's going to be a part of you. What you want to do is understand where that's coming and address it one step at a time and take it from there. So I'm going to quickly summarize what we looked at. And I want to invite all of you. I think sometimes negative thoughts are somehow connected with our physical well-being. Am I right? Is your physical well-being connected with your negative thoughts? It could be the other way around as well. And there's enough material to read up on how your thoughts can create placebo effects in your body, how it can create diseases in your body. And obviously, if it's created diseases, it's like a circle. It's going back to your mind and you're feeling bad about it. So do read up on that. And I truly believe it. I've worked on it. It's done that to my body. And now I'm using the same mind to cure me now. So it's called a nocebo effect now. Remove the disease. You brought the disease in, now you remove the disease in. So you control your mind. We've been controlled with the environment. We have been. But you know what? That's what we've allowed. Can you now start controlling the environment around you? You may not be able to control the world or what's happening outside, but there is a world within you, and you can choose to have those emotions. You can choose to do something about it. And there's always a choice that you can make. So I just want to summarize, start with identifying what mind traps. If you truly want to move towards success, to move towards a state of peace, to move towards to a space of I can control what's happening inside me, start with identifying awareness, identifying what thoughts and traps are holding me back. Challenge them. You are a lawyer fighting against them. Challenge them. What proof you have. Find all kinds of evidence against it and replace it with something that's supporting it. Imagine if you're drowning somewhere, you're not going to say, oh, I'm going to drown. You're going to be looking and you're going to be fighting in that water for something to float on. So find for those evidences that's going to support you, get you up, and hold on to that. And then try. It's not about just talk about, but try. Make those little experiments. Do things that matter to you. Have people. Surround yourself with the right people who inspire you. Read stuff. I noticed when I started reading motivational stuff, that helped me, because you can never be in the best of mind state all the time. There are times that I feel very low. There are times that I feel weak, and I know my lifesavers at that time is to hear somebody else who's inspiring, to remind me that I have it in me as well to come out of it. And that's a quick painkiller or a pill that helps me get out and bounce out. That's the idea, to bounce as fast as possible. So I want to leave you with this thought and this beautiful quote I read yesterday. Incidentally, I was on Twitter and I saw this quote from Amitabh Bachchan. I sent it to my team and all my friends as well. And I want to read that out here as well. It's a beautiful quote. It says, being challenged in life is inevitable. Being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. So you have a choice. You have a choice to fight back. You have a choice to claim yourself. And you have a choice to shine. Find what's inside you. It's in your roots. Don't look for branches outside. It's all there in your roots. So I'm signing off right now. Have a great evening. I truly enjoyed having this chat with you. I had planned it for about half an hour, and time has just flown past with all of you. And do keep in your comments any feedback, any other topics you'd like me to talk about, and we'll catch up soon. Bye for now.